So hello everybody, welcome back. This video is going to be written in Spanish because I'm teaching a class for my daughter, and I am going to prove to you that we have a lot of issues in high school and then in the university because students do not know foundational math, specifically arithmetics. Now, arithmetics means measuring of numbers, and that's it. It is not difficult. You are supposed to learn arithmetic when you are in kindergarten, okay? Kindergarten. And it is extremely important that you reinforce this in primary school. In primary school, you should know this one by heart. And it's not even memory or logic in terms of you being extremely smart or whatever it is. It's just you paying attention. If you lack focus, you will never be able to count, and this will test also your patience, okay? And if you cannot do arithmetics, basic arithmetics, you will not be able to do math later on. And I have mentioned this in another video. This is a problem that 35 years ago teachers were beginning to note, and that is before the internet, before AI, and before anything else. Why? Because you doing arithmetics means that you need to understand two concepts, and that is counting and totalizing. And the problem is that 9 out of 10 times you know how to totalize, but you do not know how to count. And so here we go. Grab your coffee, your notebook, and if you wanted to share with me what are it, links for that down below. This one says arithmetics. Now, counting is different from totalizing, okay? Again, counting, not the same as totalizing, okay? Now, what is counting? Counting is you getting a general group of items, things, whatever it is. You get a general group, and then you turn that group into a primary group. And from that primary or principal group, then you can get subgroups, subcategories, and subtotalizing. Meaning, okay, so you go to this one you can do even with a kid in kindergarten. I'm going to prove it to you. You get a 5-year-old or a 6-year-old to a market, basic market with you. You put all kinds of things into a bag, okay? And these things are like this. You get 103 things in the bag. You take them out and you said, let's count which things we have. And then they said 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, ta, 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 ta. You get 103 units of everything. That is your total. Now, you counting those 103 is easy because you have everything, and that is totalizing. You can ask, how many things do I have in the bag? 103. Easy. However, then comes the issue. You, in that bag, had fruits, vegetables, greens, and then you have candies. So I have a question. Which of these 4 things should not go to the refrigerator or should not go along with the other one? Meaning, you can't put candies with the greens inside the refrigerator, for example. So now you have a primary group. The primary group is the one that you're going to say, here are the candies, these are yours, you can take them to yourself and leave me with the rest. Because I bought 5 candies that are for you and your friends and your dad and me and whatever. So you gotta take out the candies. This means that now you have a primary group, the one that you have to organize, the one that doesn't count the candies. Now, a 5-year-old will understand this one. You're not supposed to put candies in the refrigerator, unless they are special candy that you need the refrigerator. But other than that, the candies do not go where the vegetables and the fruits and other stuff that you're going to cook with go. See what I mean? At this point, when you have those 2 things, there are people from high school and even, grown-ups that just don't get it. Honest to God, they just don't get it. They go kind of like put everything into the refrigerator. And then you're looking at them kind of like, hell, I'm going to tell you right now that there will be people that even will put everything, including the bag, just throw it inside the refrigerator with bag and everything. The 103 things. So you can imagine that this is no joke. So breathe, because if you remove the candies, how many things will you have? That is going to be now your primary group. Because the one that you need to count, the one that you need to work with, the one that needs to go to your refrigerator is your primary group. Now, this means that in order for you to do these things, you gotta do 2 processes in your head. And you gotta do 2 processes by logic. And you gotta do 2 processes by understanding of general characteristics of group. And that is excluding, as in putting apart things that do not belong, and including. Including means put everything in this because this one goes, that one doesn't. So if you put it here where you're going to count, it's going to be included. If you're not going to count it because you don't care, because whatever, it's called excluded. Let's say that you bought candies, but you also bought bubblegum. Candies and bubblegum, they're not the same. But you're going to exclude them anyway. And you don't care how many bubblegums you got, and you don't care how many candies you got, you just cared about those. So you can exclude a lot of items and you don't care. Okay? So when you are including and excluding, there will be subgroups and there will be subcategories. What is the difference? Well, the group will be kind of like, okay, so I have a lot of greens. What does that mean? Well, I have a lot of things that have green in their color, like spinach, berro, I don't know the name in English, like lettuce, like broccoli, all of those things that are called greens that you can just place them by the color that they are separated from everything else. Some people will put the broccoli and all of those things that are green, but are like other things, they put it into another category. So this one is the one that is important. Because with the greens, some people will even put onions within the greens. Because those are for making special type of cooking things. So the greens go apart. However, fruits do not go into this thing. And fruits will be, you have apples, you have pears, you have apricots, you have watermelon, you have this and this and that. So you have subgroups and then you have subcategories and vice versa. And so at this point, you will also have subtotals. As in, okay, so I got 103 units minus, let's say, for easy count, 3 candies. I remove 3 candies, one for the kid, one for me, and one for the dad. That's it, 3 candies. So now I have 100 units. From those 100, I gotta figure out how many are fruit, how many are vegetables, and how many are greens. It's called a primary selection, where I'm not counting the candies. So I got a total, and then I got a primary selection. Now I don't have 103 units, I have 100 units. And out of those 100 units, I have these many categories: fruits, vegetables, and greens, 3 categories. But then I have subgroups between those things, because in the fruits, I have watermelon, and I have apple, I have pears, I have whatever it is that you want to call it, grapes, I have this and that. I have vegetables. Like I said, it could be, I don't know, let's say that you have carrots and other stuff that you can call vegetables, because quite frankly, I don't know how to categorize it, or how do you categorize it in your kitchen. But a lot of people will put the broccolis in here, a lot of people will put the broccolis on the greens, so it will be depending upon your selection. Some people will put the onions in the vegetables, but some people will put it in the greens, and so it's a picking thing. So you have vegetables, and you have several types of vegetables in here. And then you have the greens, like I said, onion, celery, lettuce, all of those things. Or sometimes people will call it just salad. Stuff that you put into salad will be called greens. And that's why, I told you the broccoli and others are going into the green one, because they are for salads. And so depends upon what you're doing. And so now you have subgroups between each category. And now you will have a lot of subtotals. What does that mean? Well, I have 100 things from which 50 are fruits. And then I have 20 vegetables. And then I have 30 greens. So in the fruits, I have 10 watermelons. I have 4 grapes. I have 5 apples, blah, 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 until I get the numbers that I just told you. And that is called the pre-selection, as in I selected the one that doesn't go candies. Then you go the pre-selection of the subcategories and the subgroups. So I go fruits, vegetables, and greens. Then I go, okay, between the fruits, these are the watermelons, these are the apples, these are these, and these are that. That is just you organizing. Now, can you do the organizing wrong? Yes, you can. Oof! Because like I just told you, there will be a lot of people that will put the broccoli into the green. But a lot of people will put it into vegetables. And so there is no wrong or right, okay? It's just selection, okay? And so then there will be things that you don't know where to put them. For example, you might get potatoes, and then you go, but potato is not a vegetable. So where the hell do I put it? And then you go, well, put it in vegetable. But it's not a vegetable. Well, just put it in there. And so that is when you have a lot of issues, because you might need to add a special thing that says it's not a vegetable, but it's going to be called a vegetable because I only have 3 categories and I'm not going to put a 4th one used for the potatoes. See what I mean? So there is discretion when you are doing grouping. However, if you were doing a math problem, then you may have issues because the selection of the data needs to be precise. And so that is where you are supposed to go a little bit deeper, and those things that are going to tell you whether you can put the the root vegetables or root things like potatoes and others, like sweet potatoes, and other stuff like that, you can put it into the vegetable. They are called limitants or limits. Okay, limitants, as in the limit is you're not supposed to put green things into this category. You're not supposed to put vegetables with fruit. There is a border, there is a group division. They are called limits. And so when you have math things, there is something called limits. If I tell you that a number is between 10 and 40, you are saying 10, 11, 12, up until 40. You are excluding infinite number and you're excluding infinite number over there. Infinite number before 9 and infinite number after 40. You cannot count all of those. You're counting only these between 10 and 40. That is not so difficult. And that is something that you should be able to do when you focus. And so if your kid is having troubles with math, you gotta teach them and you gotta, do like an assessment, understanding whether they can do group selection or whether they can even process data. As in, if I say I have 103 units and they cannot even tell, that these are fruits, vegetables, green, and candy, and they just think that all of those things are food and put it all together, then you can't even do pre-selection or selection, or primary selection. And that means that you cannot focus. That means that you do not know what is the issue. And sometimes that will happen in real life. Like you go into a place and it is so messy where you don't even know where to start. If you don't even know where to start, that is you not being able to count or organize. And you can't organize, then you cannot process data, you cannot clean, you cannot do a lot of things later on because your mind goes blank. And that you having your mind going blank means you lack focus. Now, there are a lot of exercises and a lot of things that you can do for developing focus. And I'm going to show you one. So this is it. So teachers now, they are asking parents to buy this type of notebook, the one that has squares on it, and then they will tell you to color and do your own first page. I don't know how to call that in English, but then the teacher will create this exercise number 1, and it's easy. Just do a square, select 2 colors, do a square, 2 colors, square, 2 colors, square, 2 colors, and then repeat up until the end of the page. See, now you lack focus. You know that you lack focus because at one point she stopped following the line. If you stop following the line, you lack focus. Now, this is normal when you do the first one, okay? And even adults will fail when they're doing the first one. You lack focus when you can't tell that there is a second line, a third line, then you gotta figure out. And there are kids that will not even be able to keep up the color. They will go, blue, orange, blue, blue. And that is because they forgot to turn down the pencil, blue, and then grab the orange one. And sometimes it will be the opposite. It will be like, I'm going to do the blue, 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 and then I'm going to do the orange, 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 orange. But if you do it like that, you will make the mistake of sometimes doing twice the same color because you didn't stop to do the next one, which is a repetitive of task. And then sometimes they will not be able to even select the square, but rather they will start doing it circle because they are tired or because they don't want to do what it is being said. So then they have another one in which now you have the two squares like that. Then you have another one in which now you have a line. It's a little bit different. So the teachers will select lots and lots and lots of patterns that they think they're cool, you know, and then they will give you, sometimes they will give you only the first two or the first three. Sometimes if the exercise thing is for people that are advanced, I think now they're getting better and better and better, they will have 5 colors with 5 different patterns. So if you have 5 colors and 5 patterns, you have 25 choices on how to put them together. And then that will help you out. Because, like I said, if you're doing, you know, repetition and then you're like, I'm going to do all the blue ones, bang, you make a mistake. Because sometimes you will make twice and you skip one or you will do it wrong. And so you gotta breathe and say this one, that one, that one. If you go too fast, like do, oh, that one was supposed to be orange, not blue. See what I mean? So it will teach you. The second choice for you to develop focus on your kid will be doing calligraphy with both hands, as in the left and then the right. Of course, if the kid is right-handed, they will go fast and easy. However, if you're going to do it with the left, ooh, they will go kind of like, I don't even know how to grab the pencil. See what I mean? But it will develop their math and their brain if they do it with the left hand. And so it will be cool, okay? So it's important for you to try these things. And I'm going to give you like a resume again, just in case. Arithmetic, as in basic organization. You learn this in preschooling when they tell you which one is the square, which one is the circle, which one is the ball, which one is the green one, which one is the red one, which one is this or that. Okay? Then counting, you start by saying, okay, how many balls there are? 5. How many of them are green? 2. How many squares do you have? 20. How many of those are big? 5. How many balloons do the clown play with? 25. How many of those are red? 3. Sometimes the answer is going to be none. That means that you are learning how to exclude and how to include. And for that you need categories and you need grouping. If the clown is holding balloons, but he's also holding flowers, you're not counting the flowers. You're counting the balloons only. If the question is, how many flowers does the clown hold? You are not counting the balloons. You're counting the flowers. You cannot do that. You lack focus. It's not that you're dumb or whatever it is. You lack focus. Unless you're telling me that you have a visual problem or you have other type of issues. You lack focus. And this can be, very, very difficult to control when you are in high school. Because if you're going to try to learn about being focused on high school, you will think that this is stupid. By the way, it is stupid, but you didn't learn it properly. So now you need to go back. And then, when you tell a student in high school, you need to go back and learn how to count, they go ballistic on you. Because they go kind of like, I already know how to count. It is 103 things. Right. How many apples? They don't know. How many fruits? They don't know. How many? They don't know. They will just put them all together because they think that totalizing is the same as counting. It's not. Okay? So the most important part about you learning about how to count is learning excluding things, including things. Excluding things, including things. That's it. And when you do including, does it have a subgroup? Does it have subcategories? Does it have subtotals? I have 40 fruits, 10 watermelons, 5 apples, 4 pears, 5 grapes, whatever it is, blah, blah, blah. Easy, right? But some kids in high school, they cannot do this. And that is why they have so many problems.